What? Why, game? Game. So finicky. Hey, well, man, Dave. Good to see you. Doing well, doing well. Wishing Machop would cooperate with me as far as spawning in as a shiny, but you know, can't really complain about that. Just gotta ride the RNG wave. How are you doing today? Yeah, yeah, the good old RNG coaster. Or were you saying you were having a roller coaster kind of day? Couple bat, please. Okay, if I go in and it says that I have a lure active, I don't get it. If I have a lure active, where are the spawns, game? Come on. Okay, you spawned 2 more in, but 2 disappeared, so where are all the spawns? You're deceiving me, game. Tell me the lure is active yet. There, finally there's a Machop. There's no way, there's no need to be this way. In fact, I picked up some Ultra Balls, so I'm gonna use some of those. Yeah, good luck escaping now, Machop. Good luck escaping now. Game. Do the exact same movement over and over again, but occasionally the game just decides, yep, we're just gonna launch that ball in a random direction as hard as possible. You gotta be... I'm not letting you break my chain. I'm not gonna let you do it to me, Machop. I've been at this for far too long for you to break my chain now. Okay, we've officially caught 102 of them, so now I don't need to be using Ultra Balls anymore to catch them, because they should have green rings with just a Pokeball. So now I legitimately have no reason to catch any more Machop unless they're shiny. As long as I maintain this chain until we find one. That is. Starting to get to the point now where I wonder if I'm starting to wonder if at some point during this hunt a shiny spawned in and I just missed it, because compared to the last couple hunts, this one's been one of the slower ones. But that tends to be the cycle for me, is I'll have a couple of attempts that I'll get one shiny after a long time, or nothing, and then I'll have other runs where I get 2 to 3 shinies in a row, kind of back to back within a very quick time format. So all these Machop, and for what? For what game? Sometimes I'm not sure what the game wants. Does it want me to serenade it, to sing it a song? Does it just want me to go somewhere else so it can spawn me a shiny somewhere else? Does it want a cookie? I can't do anything about that one, but I like a cookie, but I have none to give. Okay, we're just gonna go up the ladder. Charmander and 2 Cubone. I'll start playing Rickroll until you get it. I actually do unironically like that song. Like, I know it's a whole meme and a whole troll thing to do to somebody, but I do actually legitimately like that song. Do I think it's a good song? I don't know, but I do happen to like it. Oh yeah, I forgot I messed around with some settings with my emote wall, and I just wanted to make sure that it's working. Boom. Okay, it is working. Lots of disgusted Luigi popped up, so that looks good. That looks good. I'll have to get some kind of royalty-free music set up for the near future, because as much as I love Pokemon music in general, getting to listen to this cave theme and the surfing theme and all those other ones for hours and hours on end is starting to wear me down. It's a good thing Pokemon has such good music, or is that a Gengar? It is. It's the shiny Gengar when it's Mega or Gigantamax has that white, yeah, that cool white color. I wish that's the way its standard shiny form looked. Because its standard shiny form, it's like you can barely tell that it's actually shiny. Yeah, it's a cool emote. The Pikachu with that face. Yeah, I did get a couple other ones that were Pokemon related lately from... It was actually just from a random gift sub, but one with James and one with Brock. And then I think the only other Pokemon one was the yeah, the Vulpix. I like the one with the Pikachu though.
Call the neighbors. I want them to see this.
Oh, thank you for the host, Wildman Dave. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. And I'm glad that the I'm glad that the stream alert for that works. Although I don't think I can continue to use that one forever, because that one seems like it's dangerously close to causing me problems in the future. Oh, Machop. Why do you suck? Why do you decide to hide from me? We spent all this time. Machop, your conformity has become a source of disappointment. Geodude can do it. We've seen him do it. He was orange for us plenty of times. At least 3 times. All these guys are large Machop, but no... Nothing shining. Game literally said, "You know what? You've had enough luck over the last several times that you've played. You're just gonna stare at the gray Machops for for a long time as your punishment." I don't even know if gray is the right way to describe them. They're like that. I don't know. I guess they're gray. Yeah, no, my luck has been my luck has been revoked. Enjoy the bare bones vanilla game, Gator. You've done this to yourself. Is the lure up? It can't be. You're only spawned 3 things down here. How? The game's like, oh shit, he's onto us. Better spawn in more Graveler real quick. Unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. Now we're starting to get Machop a bunch in a row. Obligatory Charmander spawn, Cubone. Finally? I don't know why I assumed I'd be able to walk past the Onyx like that, but... Oh, you know what worked for me last time when I was hunting the shiny Diglett and we couldn't get it to show up? Is that I took... in between while stuff was spawning in, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to quickly sketch Diglett on a post-it note. And it's so bad, like it's not even a good Diglett. Like you can barely tell that it's supposed to be a Diglett. But that worked for me last time, so let me it's dumb, it's very dumb, but I'm gonna draw a real ugly Machop and see if that helps. Let me take a look here at what he looks like. After I drew the Diglett, it showed up like 2 or 3 ladder refreshes later, so... Where are you at? Chop. There you are. Really trying to capture... I think I've already screwed up. Yeah, I really screwed this up. This looks real bad. Of course, my pen is also deciding to die now. But are you for real? It's still got so much ink in there. Why is it doing this? I don't understand. Actually write, please. Alright, well now that my pen is giving up on me, okay. Alright, so we're done. That's about, it's about as good as it's gonna get with the pen, stuff. No longer wishing to actually write. And it's not a pretty Machop, even. Wouldn't have been a pretty Machop even if the pen had been cooperating with me, but we did it, so we have all the planets aligning now. We drew the shiny that we're looking for. It's gotta show up now. I forgot that it has a tail, but from that perspective, you wouldn't even be able to see the tail that I drew him anyway, so it's whatever. And none of his later forms have the tail, so it's also weird. Two Cubones, a Zubat, and a Rhyhorn, and there we go, finally a Machop spawns in. You are busting my balls today, Machop. Really are. Feel like I probably could have used a different phrase there to describe what's happening, but I already poorly chose my words, so I guess I just have to live with them. Hey, what's up, Bloodfire? Poorly, yeah. Yeah, it was a poor choice of words, even though it was an accurate description of the frustration that's built up from from trying to hunt Machop now and in previous streams. Machop always eludes us. Last time we were looking for him, we ended up with an orange Geodude, which is cool. I will catch any shiny that decides to show up, but got home from work 90 minutes ago, spent time with boyfriend, now stream bouncing. Nice. Well, thank you for choosing the stream as one of the spots to bounce into and say hello. I always appreciate it. Always good to see you. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, before I forget, if any of you are unfamiliar with Bloodfire, be sure to check out Bloodfire's channel. And I already messed up. Let me try that again. It would help if I put the entire name in there all at once and spelled it correctly. Okay. Third time is the charm. Ta-da, there it is. Be sure to check out Bloodfire's channel. She's got a lot of cool content going on over there. Recently been playing some Modern Warfare, and it's always a good time. Always a fun stream. Definitely worth checking her content out. Let's go over there and drop a follow. Oh, I missed something. You're gonna get that shiny Machop. Remember when you couldn't get the shiny Vulpix? Yeah, I know, man. I know, it's always just a matter of time. Time and patience. But yeah, that shiny Vulpix, I felt like it was never gonna happen. That one took a long time. And you're just overly tired first day back since the shot. Oh, that's right, yeah, you just got your other vaccine and you're still recovering from that. Well, hopefully the day wasn't too rough on you. But it was retail, right? So probably. Probably was. But I'm glad to hear you made it through it. I must have used all my luck fixing the computer issues I was having when I first started trying to stream tonight. That's where all my luck went, into troubleshooting. Off for 3 days, came back to go outside and sweep the pavement in 90 degrees. Oof. That is rough. Yeah, luckily out where I live, today was one of the nicer days to be outside, but even still it was hot. But yeah, 90 degrees out in the weather. Having to come back to that. Not enjoyable, I'm sorry. Yeah, right after being sick. Ugh. That's the worst. I'm sorry. Well, I hope that you have stuff in the near future you can use to recuperate. A little bit of relaxation headed your way. I hope, one way or the other. I work for a terrible person. Cinderella's stepmom would be jealous. Oh no. That doesn't sound good. Well, I hope you get your, what was it? Fairy godmother? Or no, I don't think... Was she called a fairy godmother in that story? I gotta be real with you, it's been a long time since I've seen Cinderella. Okay, it was. Okay. Just making sure. I always get that one confused with the blue fairy from Pinocchio. That's where I always get the two confused, and I shouldn't really, because the stories are very different, but right, Sleeping Beauty had the three fairies that tried to, like, work together to fight against Maleficent. Yeah, the Guardians. Blue, pink, blue, pink. Make it blue, no pink, blue, pink, blue. Yeah, it's been quite a while since I've seen either of those movies, actually. Favorite line, yeah. No, yeah, those are good ones, and I liked which one was it? It's been a while. I liked Sleeping Beauty a lot. I liked the I don't know, I guess the world that they set up there, the scenario, I guess I found interesting. Because it was one of those whole things where it's like, oh, you've insulted me, so I'm going to put a curse on your kid kind of thing, like that concept. And a lot of those Disney movies from back in that era had, never seen Sleeping Beauty or most of the older Disney classics. The older movies are interesting because a lot of them take on some very dark tones that I would say more recent movies, if they take a dark tone, it's only for a moment, and then you get pulled back into the, you know, the bright, sunny insanity of things. Not to say that more recent movies don't tackle, you know, some big issues and have big emotional moments and have stuff happen, but the older movies definitely were consistently darker as a whole. The best example I can think of off the top of my head is Pinocchio. Like, there are whole story arcs that happen in that movie that are just very dark and morbid. That's the example that I typically use, but there are definitely other ones too. There's a lot of politics in the older ones too. Yeah, for sure. Another good example, which I guess not a lot of people have seen, or not as many people have seen, because I don't think the movie did very well, at least not in North America, but the Black Cauldron, very dark. Sorry, I just want to pause here for 1 second. Old Disney movies are interesting because they approach cultural issues way differently than they would today. That's true. More women need men back then. It's like a look back on a racist, bigoted past. Yeah, there are definitely a lot of things in the older Disney movies that would not fly today, would get Disney canceled today by the way things work currently. Another good example I can think of, which I feel like a lot of people use, is Song of the South, which Disney does not produce or release anymore. They've done their best to kind of hide that one. And even movies like Dumbo, I mean, there are some very race and politics based undertones in that movie, some of which are even vibrant enough that I wouldn't even call them undertones. They're pretty just flat out. So I guess slavery is part of it with the whole circus animal thing. I mean, I think they do a commentary a little bit on that as one part of it, but what was the example I was gonna give? Shoot, I lost my train of thought. I guess going back to Pinocchio, they go through the whole, what is it called? Like, child abduction. Like, basically, Pinocchio gets kidnapped. And there's that whole thing about how he's basically enslaved by the person that traffics him. And yes, the line is kind of blurred there because that story is just weird and dark as a whole, but there are a lot of things that they touch upon. Song of the South, yeah, there were some apparent issues there too, which were so apparent that I guess Disney decided, yeah, we can't afford to have people watching this movie nowadays. Oh yeah, that's going back to Dumbo. Yeah, and there's, I forget which movie it is. And it might not even be Disney, it might be some other animation studio from back in the day, but they had a character that was a crow, and of course they named him Jim because it was Jim Crow. And it was like, okay, I mean, you're doing that as... And then I guess the question became, why did you name him that? Did you name him that to address the social issue that exists, or did you name him that to just play off of it and make it be like a joke or a caricature, like as you said? So I don't know. It's, to be honest, it's crazy that a lot of that stuff didn't get addressed even earlier on, as far as Disney saying, oh, maybe we shouldn't do these things. One of them had a white hood in it too. I don't remember that part, but I believe you. I think, like, thinking back, and also I don't know which movie we're talking about at this point, because we just listed a lot of problematic pieces, I guess. But I believe it. It was older, can't remember the exact one. Gotcha. I will say I do appreciate some of the newer Disney movies for still tackling some of the darker undertones. Like Finding Nemo, I can use as an example, where in the first, minute or two of the movie, Marlin already has to deal with the fact that his mate has been eaten, and all of his children but one have also been eaten. So, like, there's that whole thing, and about how he's basically traumatized after that and doesn't want Nemo to leave his sight, or he feels like he'll lose the last important thing that he has. Like, stuff like that. Disney still keeps integrated into their plots. All the Pokebutts. Tangled is dark too. Yeah, Tangled is another good example. I feel like every Disney movie has that core element still somewhere that drives a lot of the plot line, or at least makes a character act a certain way to help assist a certain actor, a certain character act a certain way to continue to drive the actions of the protagonist in one way or the other. Yeah, Moana loses her grandma. It's a more recent Disney movie than, like, what we were talking about with Pinocchio or Sleeping Beauty, but or Dumbo. But Bambi, I mean, Bambi loses his mom. Trying to think of something else, but Shrek is pure, and if you convince me otherwise, I'll be heartbroken. Shrek is love, Shrek is life, buddy. Don't worry about that. I couldn't convince you otherwise. Hey, Child of Ragnarok. Exactly. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we're on a rant. We were talking about old Disney movies, and some of, like, the dark undertones that they have and still continue to have, and some of their more problematic pieces here and there as well. Yeah, there's always dark stuff in there. Belle is basically in, yeah. I was going to use Alice in Wonderland as an example, but that's not even... To be fair, nearly none of Disney stories are purely original, but Alice in Wonderland was directly adapted from a book, so that wasn't written by anybody at Disney. Same thing with Tarzan. I mean, both of his parents pass away, and the gorillas step in to raise him. But that was written by Edgar Rice Burroughs and adapted by Disney, so that one doesn't really count either. Yeah, Aladdin lives in poverty and has to, and he feels that he needs to be somebody else to feel worthy of, I don't know, people acknowledging him. Yeah, a lot of Disney stories or other culture stories, especially many of the old ones, came from like Grimm's fairy tales or folk stories from Europe. And they still do that nowadays, it's just now it's based on folk stories from other parts of the world. Yeah, they despite how dark some of the storylines are, a lot of the times the original stories are far darker and don't have even lukewarm happy endings. A lot of them end up being more like cautionary tales that are illogical, but still try to get some type of message across, some type of point I want to make. Yeah, Sleeping Beauty. 13 wise women, the king only had 12 plates, so he could only invite 12, and the last one got angry and cursed the baby princess. Yeah, I couldn't remember the full story when we were talking about it earlier, but I remembered it was something like really petty of why the last wise woman or enchantress, witch, whatever, decides to curse the baby, and it's like it was a really petty reason, and that was it. This is the kind of pettiness I aspire to. Our current world much. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yeah, we definitely live in a world where people burn each other over literally nothing. And figuratively nothing. I think today, in this hunt, I must have used... Let me check. How many lures do I have left? Because I got down to like 15, and then I bought, what, 30 some more? And now I'm back down to 15 again. And I probably started with about 30 to 40, so... we burned through a lot today without running into a shiny. One person isn't invited, let's burn the church. Yeah, I know what you meant, Child of Ragnarok. I know that you meant that you weren't just out to be petty to people for no reason, but... especially the poor baby that was not involved in any of the decisions there. Rest? You mean as far as... I'm sorry, I don't understand. Oh, reset. Yes. Typically, I do ladder resets to try to get the spawns back in. However, if I were to, like, save and quit the game and reset the game itself, that would restart my chain. So I'd have to go and catch another 31 Machop in a row to put my odds back up to the highest level. But as far as... going to the ladder and resetting, I've been trying to do that a lot to refresh the spawns, especially if a bunch of stuff is spawned in and I don't feel like waiting for it to get out. If a baby's crying on a plane and it goes on for more than an hour, I'm casting a curse on the baby. Ugh. There's nothing wrong with cursing babies as long as you have a good reason. I don't know if I'd go that far to curse the baby, but however, I would take consolation in knowing that I feel like I could get away with farting on that plane, and nobody would even notice because they'd be so sensory overload by the crying baby. Curse the parents, Bloodfire says. Yeah, but maybe the king not being arsed to go to IKEA is not such a good reason. Yeah, it's like, I only have... Yeah, thinking about that, that was... I don't blame the last wise woman from being that upset, because it is kind of a lazy thing to be like, you know, I'm not gonna ask this person for their input and their help because frankly we just don't have enough plates. And it's not like I'm the damn king or anything and can't afford more plates or can't just order somebody to go get another one. Or curse at the parents, or Castle Depot, or whatever they had back then. The local ye old Walmart. Did you just fart? No. Don't you hear that crying baby? Yeah, with me, I'm not even that lucky though, because I'm more of the I'm more of a silent and deadly type. So them hearing it isn't going to be the problem. They're going to be like, what's that smell? And I'm going to be like, oh, maybe the baby needs a diaper change and that's why it's crying. That would be my go-to. We're so lost. Really? It blocks that? Of all things? Okay, well, that seems excessive. I forget what channel was I on the other day where it blocked the word jerk. It was Missy. Missy of Time. I was in Jazz's, watching Jazz's Squirtle, I can't even talk anymore. Well, let me back that up. I was watching Jazz do a shiny hunt, and in the end he ended up raiding Missy, and we went over to Missy's channel, and in Jazz's raid message he was calling Squirtle a jerk because it didn't show up. And then and then we all went in and we all put that raid message in Missy's chat, and all of the messages got blocked, or Ahmad had to approve them before they got posted. So that was interesting. I really wouldn't have expected that word to be blocked. I wonder how many problems in the Hunchback of Notre Dame could have been solved if we just yanked his chain. You know, that's... You make an incredibly valid point there. Actually, I remember seeing... I remember seeing one of those, like, edited movie trailers, and they had edited The Hunchback of Notre Dame so that, I don't know, it's like that first opening scene of the movie, the poor dude falls from the tower and dies, and the movie ends, and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, that probably would have been, that probably would have been a more realistic thing of what would have happened with a man living in a tower like that. I'll admit I haven't read the book. I don't think I've read the book either. Yeah, Hunchback of Notre Dame is it's definitely an oddball to me as far as some of the Disney projects. Hellfire. Oh my god, yeah, I had actually completely forgotten about that song, and I was okay with having forgotten it, but that's okay. The book is sad. I could imagine it being sad because honestly, the Disney version of it isn't doesn't really end up being happy in the end. Is it named Marie? I hope I hope we're still talking about the character and not the old man not the old man boner. Uh. Can't get... It's gone. What, you tell me you've never been randy enough to hallucinate? Oh, you know, I had totally forgotten about that even whole part of that movie. The only part I had established to memory was like the opening musical scene of him being all happy and like doing his job, and then the gargoyles, and pretty much the whole rest of that movie I gave up committing it to memory. But oh, now it's coming back to me. Gator, you love us. I do. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate having all you guys here. You guys are making me reminisce about things I had completely forgot about. What have I done to this good, clean Christian Minecraft server? No, there's a reason that I have this as a as not a place intended for the youngins. Although apparently the Nightbot or whatever automod I have set up disagrees with some very basic words that I'm surprised it yells about. That food slinging scene in the book, he's bludgeoned and beat. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that, because that would definitely be a more realistic. Why did I just catch that Machop? There was no need to catch that Machop. Just wasting Pokeballs now. No need, does it anyway. Yeah, that's story of my life. Especially when it comes to the end of the stream and I save the game like 8 times in a row because I'm too paranoid to believe myself that I just saved. Oh, and I don't know if you all were in here when I did it, but I was telling I was telling everybody the last stream I did with the Diglett was taking so long to show up that I went on a post-it note and decided to draw him, and then he showed up like within like 15 minutes or so of me drawing it. And it's a stupid little tradition, but because Machop was taking so long, I made a very poorly drawn Machop. And I was hoping that would help along the same lines, but I think the Machop I drew is too it's too ugly, and it's scaring away the shinies now. The Diglett. Let me show you. Normally they have like a pinkish little nose, but the shiny Diglett has a blue nose. This guy. You're laughing so hard. Yeah, I'm not a great artist. I like my drawings. I find that my drawings are endearingly ugly. So, like, I like them. I can tell what it is I was trying to draw. But they're not quite the... if I had to compare them to an artist, they'd definitely be Picasso style. Oh, you're laughing hard, but not from the art. Okay. Done precisely one good Pokemon drawing in my life. What did you end up drawing? I think probably the only good Pokemon, or the only Pokemon I could probably draw would be Ditto, because it's an amorphous blob of an Eevee, funny enough. Nice. Nice. And Eevee's one of those where it's like... you could draw a very simple Eevee, but it wouldn't really look like an Eevee. So if you drew a nice Eevee, that's awesome. You drew a pretty mean Bellsprout back in middle school. Bellsprout's another one where I feel like you could do some real cool art stuff with. I feel like I would definitely mess up the way that... I'd mess up the body part of the Bellsprout. I feel like the leaves wouldn't be too bad, but I'd mess up the body, and I'd definitely mess up the dimensions of the head. I guess the sad thing is I like to doodle and draw, and a lot of the time if I'm sitting and thinking, I'll just be doodling or drawing, or if I'm on a phone call or something. Diglett also sounds like Diglett. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very easy swap to make. No, you get it. Oh, I think you're saying now you get it, right? But I got you. I was able to I was able to read through autocorrect. I understood what you meant. Yeah, that happens to me all the time on mobile. And whenever I type my username on mobile, oh my, the sheer number of things that it's auto-corrected automated alligator into it's astronomical. You wouldn't believe the number of things my phone has tried to replace that, or replace my username with. I even I don't know how or how many times I've typed the word Autobots into my phone, but typing my username, it's tried to replace my username with Autobots specifically like 3 times. And I was like, I don't even remember ever talking about Transformers via text. Ever. Because, like, why would I have? But apparently my phone remembered that word. Child of Ragnarok was pretty much the first thing I taught my phone. Yeah, I wish my phone would learn, but my phone, I've put it as a saved item, but then it'll only remember it if it's if I don't put the capital A's for some reason. It still tries to autocorrect it to other things instead of the word that I have saved. So I don't know why it does that. Maybe it's just because my phone is an older one. I have an iPhone, but it's an older one. It's like a 7 Plus, I think. So I don't know if it's something that has to do with some of the newer iOS updates no longer integrating in with the keyboard correctly or what, but... You have a Galaxy S10e. Okay, okay. Yeah, I had used Android phones all the way up until I got this phone, and I gotta say, I like the iPhone, but I'm definitely not one of those people where I'm an Apple elitist. I don't care one way or the other. I find both of them good for different things. But I will say I'm very lucky that I had an iPod Touch at one point, because trying to learn the interface and having to navigate an Apple phone, I couldn't imagine trying to do it without having that prior experience of using an iPod Touch. So much of it is just unintuitive that without that little bit of muscle memory and previous knowledge, I'd be so lost trying to find anything. You have a Galaxy A8. Bloodfire feels bad for you. I'm not super familiar with the Galaxy series, so I wouldn't even know the difference between those versions. I had a Windows phone once, though. That was kind of cool for the short amount of time that Windows phones existed. I liked my Windows phone a lot, except there was just no app support for it for anything. So yeah, Windows had made phones. That was a long time ago now. It was probably 7 or 8 years ago, because I was still in college at the time. But I loved my Windows phone. The Windows phone communicated with my computer easily, seamlessly, communicated with my Xbox seamlessly. And again, this is back in like 2013, 2012. So, having that type of seamless communication between devices like that was really only something that Apple did between iPhone and Mac. But it was cool that Windows had its own cellular phone. I could play Xbox games on my phone. You had the little live tiles and stuff. There was a lot of cool integrative stuff with the Windows phone, but sadly, third party never really, very slowly developed apps for it. And by the time Twitter had come out, Twitter had already been out for a while, but by the time they finally made an official Twitter app for Windows Phone, they'd already stopped making Windows phones, and they weren't continuing them. So it's like, okay, if something like Twitter took that long for them to bother making an app for it, obviously the Windows Phone wasn't doing so hot. This bad boy's held on for almost 2.5 years now. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm hoping my iPhone lasts a while. I know that battery life is usually an issue with Apple products, so it's been okay so far, but I have noticed the battery goes down much more quickly than when I first got it. I'm a baby. I was in high school around then. Okay. Well, let me see. 2012 to 2013. That would have been... Gosh, that feels like so long ago now. That would have been... Yeah, it would have been my freshman year of college, so... Strange, so strange for me to think that was so long ago now. Life is strange. Gotcha. Was already in drumline that year. Nice. Nice. Yeah, I didn't do marching band or anything in high school. I did band in elementary and middle school, but when I got to high school, I was like, you know what, I ended up taking like piano and guitar and other things, but I stopped playing my trumpet, which I had played from 4th grade to 8th, 9th. And then I played the cello before that. But in high school, I was like, you know what, I want to try some other things. I learned a little bit of piano, I learned a little bit of guitar, a little bit of bass guitar. That was also, high school is when I got my ocarina, and I tried to learn that. Although I really haven't touched a lot of my musical instruments in a long time, so I'm sure most of those skills have completely dissipated. Drumline, band, decade, which I assume was maybe going to be a different word. Yeah, okay, DECA, FBLA. To be honest with you, I don't know what those abbreviations stand for, but nice. It sounds like you did a lot of cool extracurricular stuff. Have I ever told you the tale of how I started to play bass guitar? No, I don't think so. I'm happy to hear it, though. Business and marketing clubs. Oh, okay, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, the only club that I did in high school, it was freshman year. I was in the rocketry club, which was pretty cool, pretty interesting. Spent our Saturdays and Friday afternoons launching, or Saturday mornings anyway, launching rockets, designing them and building them for our contests that we entered. It was cool. Picture, if you will, my school's open mic day, and me on keys and 2 friends, a guitarist and a drummer, wanted to perform a song, but we couldn't work the PA. So I was desperately trying to make my crummy school keyboard heard over a guitarist whose amp was on 11, and a drummer whose only idea of dynamics was, oh no, not fortissimo and higher. Always wanted to entertain people growing up. Parents laughed, so I did 2 clubs for them, 2 for me. Okay. Well, I feel like that's a fair balance. Got pretty ticked off and picked the bass without having played it before and made it work by ear. See, that's one of the beautiful things about the bass is you can get up there, and if you have some musical inclination and knowledge, you can get up there and play a very simple bass line to go along with something for the most part. Obviously, the more experience you have with the bass, the more you can, the more you can really groove, but awesome. Yeah, no, that's great. And I'm not surprised given what I saw of what I know you do for music, the fact that you've been doing music for so long, and what I got to hear of your piano playing the other day. I'll play the whole thing with the E string, on the E string and with the thumb, but you got there. Sometimes it's all you need. And hey, distant string, how you doing, bud? Good to see you. Digging the cat with the sunglasses and the wings. We've been struggling to have any shiny show up today, especially not Machop. Machop doesn't want to play with us. Yeah, the cat and the fish. Those are. I know the fish is one of the regular Twitch emotes. Is that cat one of the regular ones too? I don't feel like I remember seeing that one, but he could totally been there and I just overlooked him. He is, okay. Okay. Look, distant string, I've been so desperate for him to show up, I even drew him on a freaking post-it note. And I know he's ugly, but it shouldn't be scaring away the shinies. Come on now. Ugh. Oops, that's not where I wanted to go. You got a shiny Machop today? Dang, I guess that's where mine ended up. Because I have not had any luck. That's awesome, dude. How did you, what part of the cave did you end up finding yours in, I guess? Because I'm pretty sure Machop can only be found here in the rock tunnel. You're shiny hunting Geodude and it spawned in. Nice, nice. That's funny because the last time I was chaining Machop, the last stream I was chaining for Machop, it was the other way around. I was chaining Machop and a shiny Geodude spawned in and we caught him. Do I still have any lures? I do. Alright, I guess we've been standing in this particular area for a while, so we can go back to the other spot now. Then we started music class in spring that year. We were 3 keyboard players, but we only had 2 keyboards, so I got put on bass by virtue of being the only one who had actually touched one. Yeah, that's something that happens, where it's like, okay, you're the only one with experience, but that experience was like one instance, but technically that gives you seniority, so you have no choice. At least they taught me how to actually pluck the darn thing and use the other strings, so that was neat. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with bass, and just honestly, just talking about it makes me want to go back and pick mine up and get some practice in. You would not believe the blisters I got that first year. Man, oof, the very first bass I ever played on was an acoustic one, and the strings they had on there were so tight that when I was learning on that one, I literally would bleed, because I'd have to press so hard to get the to get some of the notes out, and I'd practice for decent periods of time, and I bled several practice sessions until calluses had finally formed heavy enough. And I basically no longer have those calluses. They're pretty much all gone except for one spot on my right thumb. That one I feel like is permanent forever now. Hope you get the shiny Machop. Thank you, Distant String. I appreciate it. Oh. Uh-oh. What just happened? Oh. Stop spamming sim. Oh, God. Nightbot, please. Please grow a pair, Nightbot. He's allowed to have emotes. I need to go back and change some of the settings. I'm sorry about that, bud. I removed a lot of the moderation settings from the auto mod, but now Nightbot is still too aggressive on certain things. And at one point I did put a limit on emotes, because I had one stream where some random person just came in and they were just flooding the chat with them to the point where I couldn't talk with the one other person that was in there. So I put stuff on, but then, now that I have the emote wall up, I definitely need to have higher higher allowances for that, or no limit to how many emotes you can put in. And then just have the emote wall limit how many will show up on that portion. It's okay, I tried to make a guy throwing up the horns. Apparently Nightbot does not appreciate fine art. Nightbot is very particular with its artistic tastes. It likes calm, quiet, white paint on the wall. That's what it likes. But yeah, I'll have to go back and make Nightbot loosen up a little bit. And now it's just spawning in a bunch of Zubat for some reason. And nothing? Now you spawn Charmander? Ugh. You're insulting me greatly, game. Put all this effort into believing in you, game. Help a man out. This continues on much longer, we're gonna have to go for the Hail Mary and call in the Spirit Bomb shiny. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. Yeah, this area must be plentiful with oxygen for those tail flames to keep staying lit, and for all the other Pokemon in here to be able to breathe. Unless all Pokemon are anaerobic. Unless all Pokemon are anaerobic. Gotta think, are there any instances where they deliberately are like, oh, we're gonna drown because we're in water for non-water type Pokemon, or like in the anime or anything? Because obviously in the games there really isn't an instance where that matters or that they address that. Well, yes, I'm a lot of fun at parties. No, I'm curious now. I assume that there's some part in the anime where they address it, or like they're traveling and they're underwater, and then when everybody comes up, Pikachu gasps for air or something. But I'm struggling to think of an instance off the top of my head. And then there are supposedly a bunch of Pokemon that can live in space. So, at very least, those ones don't have to breathe. Even when the SS Anne went down, I think they only mentioned the people who supposedly drowned. Interesting. Although I guess the people could have called the Pokemon back to their Pokeballs, and then the Pokemon are okay inside of their Pokeballs. But I don't know. Also, that raises more questions about the Pokeballs themselves, because how much air could there possibly be in there? Oh yeah, you think in the first movie? Oh right, because when they're all supposed to get on that boat to go to the island, there's that really bad storm or whatever. Oh yeah, in the first movie, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the specific scene, but thinking about it with the two examples I can think off the top of my head, they both happen to be legendary Pokemon, but Deoxys and Jirachi come from space, right? And then the legend is that Clefairy and Clefable came from space, and that's why the Moonstone works on them, but oh, and I guess thinking about it, Ragnarok, you're I guess you've just gotten up for the day, right? Based on timing, I would assume. Okay, I thought if I came over here and hung out, maybe something random would happen. Not seeing anything. Hey Jazz, thank you so much. Appreciate you dropping by. And I appreciate the good luck, considering we've been going for about 4 hours now with nothing, zero. We've had a goose egg. No shinies, but I'm gonna keep at it for a little while longer and see if we can't still get this Machop to show up. And I'm sorry I missed your stream earlier. I saw that you were having some issues, and when I started trying to stream today too, I was having issues on my end too. That I was able to get resolved after a lot of troubleshooting. But I hope your stream went well after you were able to get that fixed. Yeah, boy. Yeah, Eevee's always got something to say. I'm surprised this time he wasn't pissed off. Usually when I go to that screen, he's angry or upset or frustrated or whatever. And then when he is, you just go here and you give him a few pokes. And that cheers him up for some reason. No internet here since the ISP is garbage, using my data right now. Ah, okay. Got it. Well, I'm sorry. It sucks that your ISP is incredibly unreliable. That's unfortunate. I've had... back where I used to live, while I was still at school, there was only one ISP in the area, and they are notorious for having terrible customer service. And it really doesn't even matter. It's not like you can complain, or that they'll change anything, or that they will make go the extra effort to just provide the bare minimum of what you're paying for, because you don't have any other options. There's nobody else you can go to for internet in that particular area, so you're just stuck with them. If you want internet at all, that's what you have to do. Okay, we're back here in Rock Tunnel again. I did not want to play with Evie. Yeah, see, now you're anxious. What happened between the couple minutes that we flew over? I don't understand, but I'm sorry that you're anxious, Evie. Third world issues don't want to bring the mood down. For reals, have a fun time, my friend. I admire and appreciate you. Jazz, that's very kind of you, and I appreciate you too, man. You've been incredibly helpful, and before I forget, I want to shout you out because you have an amazing channel and everybody should know about it. And I also want to shout out Child of Ragnarok because I forgot to do it earlier and I really need to get better about remembering that. You guys have some great content. You've been extremely supportive of me, and everyone should know that you guys have cool stuff going on. Jazz does shiny hunting, a lot of different Nintendo games. Currently working on A Link to the Past, which is a lot of fun. And Child of Ragnarok here is a Banjo-Kazooie streamer. Just got an amazing sub 255 today, which was awesome, very hype, and just cutting down that record, that PB bit by bit. So be sure to check them out there. They're awesome. Anyway, where was I? Just going back into the cave. Thanks for the shout out. Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. Of course, of course. Okay, we are getting... We got some Machop to spawn in, but... How is there just... Hello, game? I'm still here. You want to spawn things in, please? What was that? I had a lure active. I know it. I know I had it active because it just asked me about it. This game is so strange sometimes. Come on, game. I don't even know why I'm catching this guy. Again, I don't need to be. Oh, Onyx. Why am I catching this Machop? I don't know. I don't know. So why am I hanging out up here instead of on the other floor? I also don't know. I only have 4 lures left. I've spent so many of them on this one hunt. And all I need is one. I just need one Machop to spawn in and be slightly different than all the rest of them that I've seen today, to have it all have been worthwhile. So many Onyx. Alright, I guess I'm gonna go back to the Pokemart just to get more lures. Could probably sell some of that other candy that I got too. This will spare me from having to go to the Elite Four for a little bit by selling off that candy. Now I can purchase more lures. Alright, I'm gonna do another ladder reset here. So nothing is glowing. Alright, I think what I'm going to do here is we're going to pause the hunt for now. I just realized that I've been streaming for more than 4 hours now, and I have work coming up pretty soon. So I'm going to have to call it there for today's hunt. We'll definitely continue the hunt tomorrow. I'm just going to leave my switch in sleep mode so we can keep our chain active.